Across America, small daily routines keep communities moving. A mother walking her children to school, a neighbor who fixes what breaks. But in many places, those routines are changing.
I don't feel safe walking my kids to school anymore.
Policy decisions at the national level are reshaping daily life at the local level. Immigrants are woven into stores, farms, construction sites, churches, and classrooms, essential threads in the economy. They fill jobs big and small, from butchers and bakers to farm workers and nurses. Economists estimate immigrants add trillions to GDP through labor, entrepreneurship, consumption, and taxes.
Immigrants expand the labor force, start small businesses, and often take jobs that are hard to fill.
They run shops, steward supply chains, and support whole industries. But recent federal crackdowns have begun to change that balance, deliberately and indirectly. As enforcement stepped up, families, workers, and small businesses started to feel it, in ways that aren't always captured by national statistics. A CNN report revealed heartbreaking stories behind the numbers, and today we'll take you inside those struggles to show exactly what's at stake when policy decisions collide with real lives. We'll move between stories, churches, grocery stores, orchards, malls, and the data that ties them together. These scenes reveal a broader national story. Welcome to Prospect Global, your front row seat to everything U.S. immigration. If you're new here, make sure to hit subscribe so you never miss a story that could impact you or your loved ones. We begin in communities where the changes are already visible. Each story is small, but together they reveal large economic effects. In Texas, a neighborhood's routine has frayed.
I used to walk my children to school every day. Now I avoid it when I can.
Fear of enforcement and uncertainty can change behavior. Customers stop visiting certain stores. Volunteers avoid public roles. That ripple effect, less foot traffic, fewer volunteers, translates into measurable economic loss for small businesses.
When families pull back, everything from school fundraising to local commerce tightens.
The committee members who organized cook-offs and bake sales, those small acts that undergird communities, are affected. At a church in this community, a familiar voice is about to go quiet.
After 10 years in the U.S., I'm singing my last hymns with my church choir.
When long-standing members leave, the social fabric of volunteer organizations frays. That smiling voice, the regular volunteer, their absence is emotional and economic. Fewer events, fewer donations, fewer helpers. These everyday contributions are part of how neighborhoods function. In Virginia, a grocery store feels the loss at the meat counter.
Losing our butchers meant we couldn't keep the meat counter open every day. Sales dropped.
Skilled butchers are specialized labor, not easily replaced. That lost capacity can push shoppers elsewhere. When businesses lose staff, inventory and customer loyalty suffer. Lower revenue affects wages, hours, and community tax receipts. On farms, effects are immediate and visible. At a cherry orchard in Oregon, unpicked berries are rotting in the sun.
We couldn't find enough workers this season. Fruit went to waste. That's income lost for the farm and vendors down the line.
Harvest labor shortages ripple into processing, transport, and retail. One missed harvest is many lost paychecks and less product on shelves. In Georgia, a mall that once bustled with shoppers now echoes quiet afternoons.
It's like one day everyone left in a puff of air.
When customers disappear, small retailers, many run by immigrants, lose livelihoods and local tax base shrinks. These are not isolated stories. They add up, affecting community cohesion and economic vitality. Next, the numbers behind the narratives. National data shows immigrants make up a significant share of workers in agriculture, construction, hospitality, and healthcare.
They contribute through wages, entrepreneurship, and consumption, all components of GDP.
Immigrant-founded firms create jobs and local spending, sustaining Main Street economies. They also support supply chains, from farms to processing to retail. Even after accounting for public services, many studies show a net positive fiscal contribution over time. Policy choices, enforcement levels, employer sanctions, and deportation priorities change incentives and behavior.
When enforcement intensifies, undocumented workers may leave the labor force or withdraw from public life, which reduces economic activity.
Under the recent administration, several policy shifts raised enforcement and employer liability expectations. Businesses that once relied on immigrant labor report shortages, higher costs, and lost production. These operational impacts compound through the supply chain. Models suggest that sizable losses in immigrant labor can lead to measurable drops in regional output, and higher consumer prices in affected sectors.
We raised prices and reduced hours. Customers noticed. It's been hard to stay profitable.
Higher turnover and recruitment costs hit margins, and some businesses simply scale back or close. That lowers local tax receipts, affecting public services, creating a feedback loop. The social impacts are felt in schools, volunteer programs, and neighborhood services. The human stories and the numbers align. Policies shape how communities function, sometimes in ways that erode the very systems that sustain local economies.
People here made a life. When they go, we don't just lose workers, we lose neighbors.
Communities adapt through new policies, outreach, and local investment, but adaptation takes time and resources. Conversations about immigration policy must weigh economic effects alongside other goals, and consider how to protect both security and livelihoods. The question is simple: how do we balance rule of law with sustaining the communities and economies that define America? Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to like, share, and drop your thoughts in the comments. We'd love to hear your take on these stories. And if you want more U.S. immigration updates that matter, make sure to hit subscribe.